Hello, I'm Stephen Sadler, reading to you from my book, Money and Power, The Secret History, now in its second printing, by the way. And I wanted to share with you something topical that explains both the role of oil and politics, and we've been talking about propaganda and how things are spun in our media that mislead us quite a bit. So I've been trying to point out these areas so that we can be more informed citizens and make better decisions. One of the areas happens to do with Libya. You know, if you're an American, and God bless America, I love this country, but I cannot believe what the media tells us or what they don't tell us. One of the areas we need to know as citizens about Libya is that, first of all, Gaddafi, although nobody likes Gaddafi because he's anti-Western and anti-American, but one of the reasons he is anti-American is he saw that the American and British oil companies had control of all the oil and all the oil-producing nations. So he was the one that kicked the Westerners out. He nationalized the oil industry. But you know what he did? He took the money, and no doubt he lined his pockets and some of his friends with some of this money too, which is typical in all third world countries, but the bulk of that oil money from the nationalization of the oil company went to the people. He took people that only had 1/5 of the population was even literate to almost all people are illiterate. We had women were given rights. He's one of the first African or leaders of an Islamic country to give so many progressive rights, not only to women, but to people in general. They have the highest standard of living in Africa, according to the United Nations. Most people don't realize that all education is free in Libya. They have hospitals, and your medical may not be as advanced as some Western countries, but they offer medical to their people. They do a lot of things. He developed one of the biggest man-made rivers to bring water into the desert, the Sahara Desert of southern Libya, and now they are growing food. His idea was to take the money from the oil and give it to the people so they have a sustainable economy. In other words, they will be able to live well after the oil runs out. And what most people don't know is Libya has a lot of oil. It's going to be essential to the United States and Western countries. So what really happened wasn't that the people were so upset. That's a misconception. The people are some of the most content and happy in Libya than anywhere else in Africa. They have one of the highest standards of living in Africa and of any oil-producing country for that matter, better than the Saudi Arabians as an example. So what's happened is the CIA worked with a group of rebels. Remember, they're the ones that founded and trained Al-Qaeda. So this same group is being used to create a rebellion in Libya, and it's getting lots of press coverage. We got to go get Gaddafi now. We got to go get Gaddafi because we got to go get the oil. And this is what's happening again and again and again. Your news media is going to paint out these guys as bad guys, and they're bad guys to us because they're not serving our interest. But this guy, even if you don't like him, unquestionably improved the quality of life for the people of Libya and used that oil money more than any other oil-producing nation that I know to give back to the people of Libya. So he was taken out. He was a thorn in the side of the oil companies and the U.S. government, and we killed him from a drone. So the question is, we're all told that Muammar Gaddafi is a bad guy, but what gives us the right? What gives the United States to send a drone, to send a missile to blow up his car? We haven't even declared an act of war. And according to our own Constitution, in order to do such an act, the Congress needs to initiate an act of war. So if we think Gaddafi is so bad, why didn't we declare a war? But we didn't. But by doing these acts, everybody in the Middle East sees what's going on in Iran. They see what's going on in Libya. They see what's going on in Saudi Arabia. The whole Middle East is controlled now through the puppets of the United States and Great Britain, the oil companies essentially. And if the Americans don't wake up to this, they're going to wonder, well, where's all this terrorism coming from? Why do so many people hate us? They hate us because we're hurting them. And we don't even know it. No American would want anybody from any other country, I don't think, to suffer. But we need to be more responsible as to how we are dealing with other countries and their people and their economies. Because we're making enemies all over the place. And the Middle East is just getting more contentious. So Americans, take some time to get the facts. Read my book, Money and Power. Look at other points of view. Go to YouTube and just look these things up. Look at the the video clips from the Young Turks or the Russian news or European news. Not that you want to believe everything that any news agency says. I think a grain of salt is probably good advice when analyzing any data from a media source, period. But if you don't look at other opinions, if you don't get other views, you're going to be brainwashed, as most people are. So the next step for all of us, the solution to the problem that we're in, both as Americans and worldwide, is that we're asleep. We don't see how people are manipulating the politics or the news, how we're getting misinformation. Wake up. Don't believe what I'm saying either. Question what I tell you. Look this stuff up for yourself. Get other points of view. Become truly awakened as to what's happening in the world. That's the only way we're going to change it.